Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode here on Decidedly Vanilla with me, Selective Nutella. Heyo! And in this episode, you guys, we have a few things to do, so let's just go ahead and take a look at our to-do list. And it says there, set up a Nether Portal, build potion pad, and prettify a garden. And just to be clear, when it comes to prettifying the garden, I'm talking about the one right ahead of me, because as you may be able to tell, it looks somewhat appealing, but it doesn't look too appealing where it would capture someone's attention and make them want to go over and check it out effective immediately. So I think what I'm going to be doing here is to start this episode off, why don't we actually work on prettifying the garden? And I'm not entirely sure what this horse is up to, so I think I'm going to have a chat with him and see why he's standing on my chest and all up in my face. So let me go ahead and take care of all that, pick up some resources, and I'll see you over at the garden. After having a chat with that horse, it turns out that I forgot to feed it for the past few weeks. Oops. So let's take a look at how the garden looks currently. As you can tell, I swapped out the dirt in this pond with polished diorite, and I did the same over here, and I like how this looks. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out the dirt and grass blocks within the remaining ponds with polished diorite. Now, the walls, I like how they look. In all honesty, the mixture of stone blocks with stone brick blocks, I think has a nice touch, but I think we can prettify the walls even more. So I'm going to tinker around with different designs off camera, possibly even in my DVLB world, and see if I can come up with something that looks more appealing than what we currently have. But I'm not going to add anything else in terms of crafting chest tables or little storage components or furnaces. I think for the size of this garden, I have everything that I need, and I don't want to add any more. Now, taking a step outside of the garden and just walking around it, I do think that for the most part, this does look rather appealing. I don't want to add too much overgrowth because there is too much of a good thing, and I'm for the most part gathering I'm harvesting everything that I would need from within the garden. All of these crops are just for decorational purposes. If I really needed to, I could go ahead and harvest them, but I'm not going to. Oh, and it looks like the sun is going down, so I'm gonna have to get a snooze job and then come back, get some work done, and then once I've finished the job over here, I'll bring it back, I'll show you what I did, and then we can move on to the next thing that I would like to do for this episode. Normally, I would not be recording at nighttime, but I have a legit reason as to why I'm doing so right now, and that is because I would like to test to see if any mobs can spawn within the garden, and also if any mobs can spawn outside of the garden area, but make their way in. Now, as you can tell, I have the place fairly lit up. We have some cobblestone beneath dark oak fence posts with a torch at the very top. Action going on, and then, oh, hello there, friend. No, the garden is closed. You cannot come in. I'm fairly sorry. Wait until morning, and then we can maybe talk some business and such. But then we also have just some cobblestone pillars laid around with a torch on top, and that is because in those areas, that is where the light level dips down to a dangerous level of 6 and 5. I don't think hostile mobs can spawn at light level 7. If anyone knows what light level hostile mobs spawn at, feel free to let myself and anyone else watching this video know via the comment section, so that way, well, if you know something, share the knowledge, because knowledge is power. But I think for the most part, that is going to do it when it comes to prettifying the garden area. As you can tell right behind me on the back walls, we have a propped open dark oak fence gate with a upside down cobblestone stair placed on top, with adjacent to the propped open dark oak fence gate, we have the cobblestone fence, dark oak fence post, and torch action. And I was thinking of applying that to every part of the wall where it was only stone blocks. But then I noticed that, for example, right behind me there, we do have some sugarcane growing, and I did not want to remove the sugarcane because I need that for one, paper, so when I want to enchant a book, then I can do so, or if I need sugar for a potion, then I have it. But also, if you can kind of tell on the other side of that propped open dark oak fence gate, I do have an open space, but there was no land beneath it, and the realistic part of me was saying it wouldn't make sense to have the cobblestone wall with the dark oak fence post and torch on top right there, because, well, what would be holding it up? I mean, we could say that, I guess, that it's a part of the wall and that's how it's there, but again, the realistic part of me was saying it would make sense to have some land beneath it just as some additional support. But who knows, maybe I'll go ahead and add that later on. I may add it actually after I'm done recording this clip. But like I said, that's going to do it for this garden area. So now, why don't we go ahead and set up our nether portal? But let's wait until the morning comes so we can do that. That way we don't have to worry about a creeper coming and exploding the portal after we've lit it, or a hostile mob makes its way into the nether, because it's bad enough we already have some Zambo swine people. Am I right? And as you may be able to tell, we are still chilling out in the garden area, but that is because off camera I went ahead and took some oak leaf blocks along with coarse dirt blocks, and then took a shovel to a grass block and transformed it into a path block, just so we can have some more aesthetic detail action going on in this area. And then also outside of the garden area around the outskirts, I then applied some oak leaf blocks and then did some bone meal action. And for the most part, I am fairly happy with how this looks. I don't think I would do anything more, just because I don't want to overdo it. And right here, we do have a tree. And I know, it's not the most circular tree in Minecraft. It's not the most lively looking tree that we could have, but I wanted to give it a withering effect. Thank you very much, Page of Macy's, for that. But I think this looks pretty good, considering it's not supposed to take up too much space. For one, in terms of measurements going back, across, and up in height, and then also when it comes to the actual how many leaf blocks there are on this tree, it's again not that much, but I like it. Do let me know what you guys think about it. But here we are. Here is the nether portal. Now, when it came to figuring out what I wanted the nether portal to look like and what kind of ancient Roman structure I wanted to build around it or for the nether portal, I surfed the web. I opened up a few history textbooks that I have, and I stumbled across an interesting character in ancient Roman history, and that is Titus, who was an emperor, and he led a few crusades during the Roman-Jewish conflict. I don't remember if it was a war or a battle. I think it was a war, but just to be safe, I'm going to call it conflict. But he was a military commander, and he, again, led a few crusades throughout the Roman-Jewish conflict. And although he died before the arch was complete, his successor, which was his brother Domitian, I think that's his name or how you pronounce it, his successor saw to it that the arch was complete. And when I also looked at images of the arch of Titus, I kind of thought to myself, that looks pretty cool, and it looks like, we could weasel a nether portal right here in the center. And that is, for one, I wanted, a nether portal to sort of be built within the ancient Roman structure that I would create, but I also wanted to create it 5 blocks in height, because I do plan on transporting various mobs to and from this area via the nether, and I wasn't sure exactly how much headspace I was going to need, so it was kind of like knocking 2 birds with 1 stone. We have a pretty cool structure for our nether portal, and then also it just works out that for the purposes that I have for my Nether portal, aside from going to and from here, Farhaven, other people's, and like to the end and such. It's also like helps me again transport various mobs through the Nether. But now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building our potion pad, and I'm not too sure what I want to call it. I'm trying to still research a ancient Roman structure that could resemble something that has to do with brewing potions here in Minecraft. I'm not entirely sure. If anyone is up to date on or has a fair knowledge on ancient Roman history and you have some suggestions as to what we can call it, feel free to let me know. But I already have a design for this structure in my DVLB world, so I'm gonna hop in that real quick, take a look at it, refresh my memory because I built it like a week ago at this point, and I'm gonna put pickaxe to cobble and get my build on. So I'll see you guys when it's completed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the potion pad has been fully established, and now it's gonna come down to just doing the interior design, and I'm not the best at doing that, so here's to hopefully being able to do a decent job. I do know for the most part that this back wall is where I'm going to do all my potion stuff. I'm gonna maybe place a table that occupies these 3 block spaces, and then have 2 separate cauldrons on the edges. That way we have, I think you can withdraw 3 sources of water from a cauldron. So if that is true, then we'll be able to withdraw a total of 6, and then right here in these 2 spaces, I'm going to go ahead and place down some chests. Let's just go ahead and let this resemble the cauldrons and let these resemble chests. Now, normally I don't stack chest on top of chest just because, to me, again, the realist inside of me would go, how am I going to be able to open a chest when there's already a solid chest on top of it? But you know what, I can let that slide for this case because this is going to be a potion brewing area. This is where I'm going to get my drink on, you know? So I think at this point I'm just going to go ahead, do the interior design, and then I'm going to bring it back when I'm actually then ready to call it an episode. So I'll see you guys in a moment. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time where we must begin to conclude this episode here on Decidedly Vanilla. But before we go, I at least want to just say thank you all ever so much for your continuing support on this new series. You guys are sincerely the best, and also for those of you who are coming over from the other Decidedly Vanilla peeps communities, welcome to the channel. But before we go ahead and actually show off the brewing pad, I just want to say right now, I think I came up with a name for it, but I'm going to need all of you's help in deciding if this is going to be the official name. Now, this is actually a name that is not from ancient Roman history, culture, whatever. It is actually from the Gears of War game, Gears of War 1 to be specific. And the name that I'm leaning on going with is House of Sovereigns. And now let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. So eventually I'm going to be making a pathway that connects my little house to the Nether Portal, to the garden area, and then that connects to the what may eventually be officially entitled House of Sovereigns. But as you guys can tell, we have 2 separate gardens on both sides of this structure, and that is because, one, I really want to try and live the life of a not vegetarian or anything. I will from time to time have some beef in my Minecraft life, but for the most part I think I want to try and rely on harvesting crops, growing crops, then harvesting crops for my consumption, so that way I can continue to live on in Decidedly Vanilla, live in the Minecraft on Decidedly Vanilla. And also, I think I mentioned this a few segments back, I'm not entirely sure at this point in time, but I at least wanted to grow nether wart in between the brewing pad along with in between the garden area, just so we can have this theme continuing to go on. Like we're obviously growing our crops here, and I figured since we're going to be using some of the crops for our brewing brewing our potions and such, I figured why not try and add some more farmlands to the area, so that way we don't have to cut back in our resources. And then also we have some sugarcane, just so in the event that I want to make a lot of swiftness potions, which does use sugar, which you get from, well, sugarcane, obviously, we can rest assured knowing that we have a decent, if not hefty, hello there, new block layer of sugarcane. We have a decent to good amount of sugarcane that we can have at our disposal to use. Now let's take a look inside, because, well, considering the ceiling was fairly high, and if you look at ancient Roman architecture, when it comes to these ceilings and the interior designs, they tend to have some high roofs in certain structures, whereas in other structures you may not have such a high ceiling. But considering this is where we're going to be brewing up our potions, getting our drink on, I wanted this to have a fancy feeling. I did not want this to be, the best word that comes to my mind at the moment is a peasant. This is something where peasants would come to, but I wanted this to be a place where certain military leaders and politicians may come. You know, it's for the quote-unquote royal upper class people, shall we say. But over here we have a chest that is where I'm going to be storing up my potions. Over here we have the potion ingredients, and like I said, in both corners here we do have 2 separate cauldrons filled to the brim with water, and then 2 brewing potions. And when it came to the lighting, I actually wasn't sure how much lighting I wanted to be in this in the brewing pad, because if we take a step outside, it looks a little small to begin with, and considering I'm only going to be over here for brewing potions, it's not like I'm going to come over here just to hang out or anything. I mean, who knows, maybe someone here on Decidedly Vanilla may want to just one day have a chat and chill out by the drinking area and such, you know, have a little festivities here on the server. But I ended up just for some minor lightings, I wanted to place an ender chest, because that does give off a very low, it does emit a low level of light. And then right here where we have our cobblestone walls that come out from the, I don't have a pickaxe on me. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do. Aside from having cobblestone walls that branch out from the andesite walls, I thought then, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and place torches on top of that, so then that can finish off the lighting, so that way we don't have any hostile mobs spawning in and possibly going boom and ruining our structure, this amazing marble that we have created here. But unfortunately, that's going to do it for this episode. So if you like what you see, then please give that like button a hug and subscribe for the latest buzz. And if you had a blast with a good laugh, then make sure you favorite this video and share with a friend or 2. But until next time, peeps, this is Selective Nutella. Peace out.